Vasudevaji.
Namaskar.
So tell us how your spiritual journey started.
This is back to the 60s. Is this in the end of the 60s? I was living from music, and I was in a way enjoying a little bit of name and fame. So I felt like in a kind of ecstasy. Because there is a lot of side effects also by being, you can say, not really famous, but to feel that you are appreciated and valuable for people. And then I enjoyed that very much, and I had a very beautiful experience, very good experience. I went in my hometown; everybody knew who I was, and it was a nice time. But then the lifestyle of an artist is, you get too much. Money came in, parties, and all this lifestyle is very tough. I can imagine for really famous artists, there must be horror in the long run because it is psychically a very, very heavy pressure and so much alcohol, drugs, and everything that is offered you all the time, And after some times, I felt really that it disturbed me and the balance in my mind, and I got really tired, and my mindset was very much paranoid. I was feeling like I didn't have any more to offer to life. I was really on that depressing mood and on the way to somehow almost leave the planet. Then I started to go in the sidewalks, if you understand what I mean, in the shadow. I didn't want to meet people that before was so, I was so happy to go there with my, astral body and all the things open like anything, and everybody said hello and can we take a picture with you or whatever, and then it was a beautiful time. But now the fear, the paranoia, and all this stuff came to my mind, and I feel quite sick and depressed, and by accident almost, because I was very interested in the music field. I started to study the Beatles, what they were trying to do by looking towards the east to find maybe an alternative to this very deep, bad way of living that was. I don't understand how they survived, But anyway, so I came in contact with transcendental meditation, but also during that time, it was a totally different time, The world was in a way bigger, and India was so far away, and yoga was a very unknown phenomena. So when I went to the main library in Oslo, the capital of Norway, and I searched for a book about yoga, I found only one book, and that was about, people flying in the air and walking on water, these all cool things. And it was not, in a way, stimulating me before I read the books about this yogi, Maharishi Yogi. And I found that maybe I should try the transcendental meditation. So I started with that, and actually it helped me. And then in '72, Dada Karunananda came to Oslo. He became my acharya. He initiated me, and I felt it was a very powerful experience to get into Ananda Marga. But of course, the whole surrounding was very unknown to yoga and very unknown to that kind of lifestyle. So my friends, they look at me almost like alien, that. And also, yoga was connected to Hinduism and caste system and all these things, and then I became very lonely in that time, because very few people was into it. But slowly we made a kind of yoga or Ananda Marga society, you can say, and it was a very inspiring time. And it was very beautiful, very universal, and that remembrance from that time has stimulated many people that because when I get older, I've been to few funerals with the margiis from that time, and I didn't see them for years. And then in one of the funerals, for example, it was very powerful for me because I have not seen that brother for 20 years or 30 years. And they called me for the funeral. And I was sitting there in the funeral, and so many people was there, that was in the margiis in the 70s, but due to different reasons they are initiated and they go their ways, and many people we don't have contact with in Dharma Chakra and things, they're still around. So then um, his wife, the one that died, his name was Tarun or something, and then his wife said, that his husband was very proud of being a part of the love generation, the hippie generation, Of course, there was more than drugs, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. There was a kind of revolution, youth revolution, that the young people, they started to think by themselves instead of just following father and mother. So it was a kind of a change. And then he was proud of that. And then she said, and then we met Ananda Marga. And then I was thinking, what will happen now? And she did like this, to the coffin, and she talked very, very beautiful about Baba, and their husband and herself's experience with meditating every day, with feeling they wanted to come closer to the spirit of welfare. They said Baba is the spirit of welfare, and we become closer to that spirit. We have felt closer and closer to Baba, And it was like, now when I explain it in words, it's not like the vibration in the church there. I was really crying almost, and so beautiful. And then the grandchild came up, and she was doing namaskar to the coffin. I don't know, is that the right word in English, coffin?
Yes.
Where the dead body. And then she said, Grandpapa, I would like to be like you. And then she said, Baba Nam Kevalam. I was like, wow, I've not seen that person for 30 years, and still the vibration and the help they got from Baba was so powerful in my understanding. So I've been in two others also, and the same thing, Baba never left these people. So it has been a wonderful journey, to see these things, and you know how it is. Ananda Marga have gone up and up and down, and I feel Baba was giving us more and more the feeling that it is not about us. It's not about Ananda Marga as a group. It's about the spirit of welfare. And he has given, all the reforms of neo-humanistic education, of progressive utilization, all these things is deadly needed for the planet, because our leaders and many people, they are not stimulated and inspired to go for love, for and empathy for all living beings. It's like it's a must for the planet that we develop that spirit of welfare. And of course, to come closer to that spirit, like Baba said, I'm not the body, I'm a spirit. And also, I'm merged with my mission. So it's like to bring up a new world is what Baba's, in my opinion, you know, because we have different opinions in a way in a beautiful landscape or margies. So I feel like the journey has been very inspiring in so many ways, and in the music field, that just to be able to use the I don't know the world championship and to be the name and fame and all these things are very dangerous side effects, but to really feel closer to Baba by music and be a part of Rava, and to feel that the music have a very, and art in general have a very important role to play in Baba's wish to develop this planet to be a better place for all of us. And then it's I mean, to unite all righteous forces is a job, you know, to inspire other people. It's not only a sect or a group thing. It's a very vast thing Baba is giving the planet, and we have to work maybe more speed up and bring the reforms on the table to the people in general.
So when did you meet Baba? Tell us
What
how that
is,
happened. Meet Baba.
well, it was of course we heard about Baba all the time, you know, when it was impossible to meet him, and then I'm not sure now that it must have been maybe 78, can that be, or 79? I don't know when Baba left the prison, but he was still in Patna prison. And we know that he was going very strongly against the caste system. And that is like, you know, not so easy to do in India. So they put him in jail. So um, when the first you can say group of people from Europe was going there, you know, and they came back and they talked about their experience. I felt, oh, I want to go too, you know, and we went, some few of us from Norway, and when we came to India, of course, there was like people from all over Europe in the one group, you know, and of course it was totally different time. We, you know, there was only one traveling agency in whole Norway that can't travel, had tickets there, and we heard stories from India about the sailors and the, you know, the snakes, and it was not like today, you know, you can just book a ticket if you have money and go anywhere you like, you know. It was not that in that time. It was a long trip to go to India. And of course, when we came there, it was a totally different culture. But we were crazy inspired, you know, to see Baba. And of course, I went into his cell twice. It's a long story, so I tried to combine the two things, because the main thing was that I came there for my for one main reason, because I was married before, I divorced, you know, and I had a son, and it was a very difficult time for me because I didn't know what to do, you know, because of course my ex-wife, or the first wife, was a beautiful being. But the chemistry, you know how it is, can when it doesn't fit. And I was crazy to get out of the mental unbalance, and she was more into getting more physical, uh, you know, stability. So when I went to India, I had this question that was in my mind, what to do, you know, with my life. But when I came there, the first thing I heard about was the Acharyas told, don't ask Baba any personal question, because we see people come into him with cancer, with different symptom, and he take it, you know, and we feel it's too much for Baba. And then we, after a long story with the, because when every time we met Baba, you know how it is also, every time it was many mystical things happening around, you know, and it's a big story. But one of the stories was that by chance went into the director's room, office. And I was sitting there with the Red Cross doctor, with one other margie, and the director of the prison. And the first thing, the Red Cross doctor was turning to me and he said, "Baba is God. No one can live without food for so long," and I was shocked, He was more, stories was more powerful than I have ever heard from the margies somehow. And the prison director, he started to talk, once there was a person, he had done a very small criminal things, like because of poverty, he stole some food or something, and he was thrown to prison. And he had not seen his wife and his child for some time. And he turned to Baba's cell, from his cell, the prison was quite big. And he said, "Baba, I have not seen my wife and my child. Can you help me?" And then he felt like he was going through the wall of the prison. Strange. This is the prison director telling me, And he went on the bus, went to his wife, and was with his wife and the child the whole night. And he came back with the bus, went through the wall, and was sitting in his cell. And he was wondering, did I dream this? Was it real? And then the wife came to visit him the day after, and he said, "Oh, my wife, was I with you this night, or did I dream?" And she said, "You were with me." And then the rumors went around in the prison, so everybody started to do push in the direction of Baba's cell and asking Baba for this and that, And the prison director said, then I had to move around stopping this nonsense. I was thinking, what is this too powerful? And then he also told that, Baba, this is a pilgrim place now. It used to be a prison. And Baba, he was a very, the KGB and the different police under, I don't know what it's called, were very much afraid of Baba. So it was very strict, around him. And he said he felt something was wrong, and he went to Baba's cell, and no Baba was there. And he said, then I looked up on the sky because the door was open and there was like a garden outside, and he was looking up in the sky and he saw a light. And the light came towards the gate, of Baba's cell, and entered the gate and landed on Baba's bed. And it was Baba. And as I understood, he said something like, never come to me in the night. I'm a very busy man. And this is not me. This is the prison director telling these things. So I was like, oh my God, this is more powerful. And also it gave me a feeling that I don't dare to ask Baba any personal questions, because this is, really strong things. So we went to Baba's cell, and we came in, and then he said, oh, where have you been? It was 4 people, I think. And we said, Baba, we have been in Jamalpur. And then he said, oh, did you, now I don't know if I say the names properly, I said, like, did you meet Dasaraji? Did you meet Bindeshwar? Did you meet this and that, And we said, yes, Baba. And the tears was rolling down like this, from Baba's eyes. And he said, oh, I miss them so much. And the vibration in the room, and about how he expressed himself, I cannot tell it, because it was like really fatherly touch, a really strong, powerful feeling. And then we started to do Guru Puja, but Dada Karunananda, he gave me some beautiful advices, actually. And one of them was that when you go to see Baba, don't think Parama Purusha, Taraka Brahma, and all these far out words, these things. Think Father, the closest. And I was thinking, yeah, and just do satsang pranam and jump into Baba's lap. you know, I didn't do as the other people started, of course, to do Guru Puja. But I did Sasak Pranam, and I jumped into Baba's lap, and I was crying, and he was doing like this, and I massaged his back, because he looked like this when I opened my eyes. Oh, come, and I just like Dalakarunana told, and I didn't, after a short time, I didn't know who was Guru, who was me, it was like the dimensional complexes went away, and it was like Baba was going into my deeper self, and he took out the trauma. It was very, this is very difficult to express in words, but I felt like, because when I was a child, my father left my mother when I was in the womb of my mother because of another wife, girl. And then I think that due to therapy I went to later, I think that when I was a child and my friends asked, "Where's your papa?" Then I felt maybe I'm not good enough for my father. He's not here, I didn't see him. So it was like Baba was taking that, you can say, trauma in me, and was driving it out. And it was like, you are good enough for me. And I felt, if I'm good enough for Baba, then everyone is good enough. It was so beautiful, like the prison of intellectual craziness was exploded, and I felt like there was a fatherly gestalt there, but behind there was pure consciousness. And then the next thing, when the other three people came, after finishing Guru Puja, they ended up in the same dimension. We all were crying like mad, And then Baba looked at me and he said, after some time talking with everyone, he said, "Do you have any personal question?" And I was so afraid. And then I said, "Baba, may I ask you a personal question?" And he said, "You can ask me endless question." That is Baba, You can ask me endless question. And I said, due to selfishness, due to ego, samskaras, I don't know exactly how I explain myself. You married me, you gave me a son, but I cannot continue. And he said, wait 3 months, you will get the answer. And then I was maybe reacting. So I said, October, November, December, you will get the answer. And I said, okay, thank you, Baba. Something like that. Then we were, of course, in a different place. The question I was supposed to ask was not so important for me anymore, because this beautiful thing that happened between us and the Guru was the best meeting I ever had in my life, and it is the best place I ever been. And then after he finished us, he said it was like 4 guards, standing in near the wall there. And he said, "Who wants sweets?" And they all came running, Baba, 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 and sitting down with us, And Baba was feeding them with prasad, And it was not like, oh, you are margiis, you are mine, you're not margiis. Everybody felt this family touch, and crying. And then the prison director told me that, we have to change the guards very often because they fall in love with this guru, and the vibration was far out. So what happened was that 3 months later, Ladini, my wife, that I've been married with for 40 years, and we have 5 children and 5 grandchildren today, ring the bell of the door of my flat, and asked if we were going to Hanover for a retreat. And slowly, like Baba was working on our Anahata chakra, and it was very strange because I had a very strong blockation to sisters and to that dimension because of my bad experience in the first time. But slowly, like Baba was opening up, So in a way, I feel that Baba take care not only on the acharyas and these things, he take care of all of us, and he's the spirit of welfare. Deep love for us, all humans, animals, and plants, and we have to get rid of these dogmas and things that separate us people, and so we can really come to him as soon as possible. So that is my experience with Baba. Of course, I had some nice meeting after that with the same, in the same dimension. He never beat me up. Of course, I have had the heart operation. I had this, so in a way, the samskaras is burned anyway. But for me, that's the most beautiful guru. Oh, I met many of them, Sadhgurus. I've not met, but I've seen, because today we know how it is. The whole Facebook and the whole YouTube is full of information. So I feel in a way that the speed of the evolution is speeded up, and Baba said, I will speed up the evolution. And today we can say, oh, this is wrong, that is wrong, this and that. But the information about yoga and things is so much more than in 72 when I started with only one book in the whole library of Norway. So in a way, like Baba, I understood. Karuna also told me, when you sit in Dharma Chakra and you see, and you know that nobody is free from their samskara, everybody's there to burn, and we have to do it together. And if you see a weakness in a person, help that person. Don't go into another room backbiting, and don't be judgments. Be spiritual welfare. Be to help people. And that I almost forgot now. That is how I see today. Or if we see all the yoga that is very, very, very physical oriented and this and that, like Karunanasa, I guess also Baba would say, if you have something to offer, bring them further on, go there, help, to bring them further on. And the platform is so much deeper than when I started. So I think the future is very bright, it's not only bad things, of course. Bad things will happen to stop the yaksha and stop the accumulation thing and this and that, and get rid of maybe more dogma. It has to be more extreme, I don't know. But Baba is the captain. Baba is not the judgment. Baba is our most beloved father, He loves us so much, and he wants the whole planet to be filled with this love, for each other and for humans, animals, and plants, He have this, and to get closer to that, all of us, even though we get older, I feel many people, they get older and they cannot do the things properly anymore, and they start to blame themselves or feeling that Baba doesn't love them anymore. It's not wrong. It's not right. I mean, Baba loves us even when we cannot even do sadhana anymore, even if we get senile or face what we have to do when we get older. I'm 76 now, and also I see many of my friends, they have a hard time just by being elder. So of course I'm graced to still be on my feet and enjoy the life and do sadhana and are in a way active. But for Baba, he loves us whether we can do that much or more. Or it's not like I remember one brother, he said that Baba told that everybody that's there is get up 5 o'clock for Panchajanya, they're the number one. And then I felt like Baba said, well, if it feed the superiority complex, better to come 15 minutes later. Something like that.
You've made some beautiful bhajans and kirtans in the past. I'd like to finish off with one of your more recent ones.
Baba Nam Kevala